Good evening, everyone. If all members could sit down and we'll go through the agenda. Just a quick note before I go through the agenda. In everyone's mailboxes is the financial disclosure statement. Just make sure you fill that out. It is due on, well, we have some time, but the sooner that it's done, the easier for our clerk, well, actually the easier for all of us, but make sure you fill that out and make things easier for all of staff to not have to hunt us down. We'll go through the agenda and local laws introduced. We have local law E from Councilmember Powell. That will go to public safety. Local law F from Councilmember Hoey, which will also go to public safety. In ordinances, we have a majority consent ordinance that you have on your desks. So we'll be putting that in by majority consent. That is from me, and that is authorizing the lease of a portion of 520 Livingston Avenue, which is West Hill Community Center, to the Black Nurses Coalition. That will go to finance. In resolutions introduced, we have resolution 163226R from Councilmember Zamer. That will go to planning, because we do not fully have the PEG ad hoc board together. So that is a resolution reappointing Donald Hyman to the PEG board. Next, from Councilmember Adams, we have resolution 173226R. We'll be voting on that tonight. That is a resolution in support of the Sunshine School and the SEQA review, so that does not have to have a full environmental review. Next, we have from Councilmember Lumpkin, resolution 183226R. That is a resolution commemorating the centennial of Black History observance and celebrating the 91st anniversary of the NAACP Albany branch. We'll actually be taking that out of order. So that will take up right after the member comments for the initial public comment period. So we'll have public comment, member comments on public comment, should there be any, and then we will go into that resolution, take that out of order. And I believe that we are all co-sponsors on that, so that will just be a voice vote. And then we'll have an opportunity for an official presentation, and we'll invite people to take a picture. Next, we have resolution 193226R from Councilmember Hoey. That will go to the Finance Committee. And in resolutions held from Councilmember Zamer, resolution 143126R, that passed through the Planning Committee, and that's something we will be voting on. A quick note that Council President Kimbrough is not able to be here tonight. He's a little under the weather. So I'll be taking over up there. Councilmember Valorant will be doing the President Pro Tem position, and we'll shift things through that way. Councilmember Flynn.
I was just wondering if we're going to do miscellaneous like we did 2 weeks ago about the public comment after common council members speak like we did.
We will. It is in the agenda. Just a quick note too, as Councilmember Robinson did note, that it is something that can lengthen meetings a bit. So especially for something, the resolution that we're about to have, if there are other opportunities to speak on it, please wait for those opportunities, but it is an opportunity for members to speak when they feel it necessary. So we will be doing that, and then we'll be doing the NAACP resolution. Anything else? Councilmember Holly?
Yeah, thank you, President Pro Tem. I just want to, real fast, just to tell everybody, because I know there was a question brought up about the trip to Baltimore for the anti-violence, and I was one of the people to attend, and several other council members did go. This was all self-funded. I had to take a vacation day off work. I had to pay, I actually flew down because I couldn't afford to be more than one day away from home because I had some responsibilities at home. So I ended up having to pay for my own airfare, and I did a lot of walking. It was like 7 miles. Wherever I could save money by taking rapid transit, I did. I got to walk around the city. But I just want to make sure everybody knows that this just wasn't a junket, that we just all went on a trip. Everybody had to, come up, either drive themselves or fly or take a train to get down there. And it was, trying to go back over it and try to remember every detail. For me, it's going to be difficult. I'm getting up there in years. But I'll be glad to, I had got impressions, and that's my main thing from that trip was the impressions of safety and how people are moving forward. So looking forward to discussions on it. But to be able to do a report, I'm not going to be able to do, to actually put down every hour what I was doing. So I just wanted to pass that along to our council members. Thank you.
Councilmember Robinson?
Thank you. And I'd just like to piggyback off my colleague because there's a lot of conversation going back and forth on Facebook talking about taxpayers' money was spent on this trip. There was no taxpayers' money spent on this trip. We paid for it out of our own pockets.
Yes, and I think part of the hope is that a lot of the questions that were asked would actually be discussed at the meeting. Just keeping in mind that members have a lot of different things on, members are having have a lot of different responsibilities, and making sure that we are able to gauge things, and sometimes it's hard to ask members to come up with an itemized thing of all the details of their trip. It is the hope that members will talk about that in more detail at that meeting. So many of those answers will many of those questions will likely be answered at the meeting itself. Does anybody else have anything? If not, then we will, at 7 o'clock, we'll start the meeting. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. We'll call to order tonight's Albany Common Council meeting, Monday, March 16th, 2026. Can the clerk please call the roll?
Adams.
Present.
Anani.
Present.
Valorant.
Present.
Brody.
Present.
Farrell.
Here.
Flynn.
Present.
Hoey.
Present.
Johnson.
Present.
Jones. Keegan.
Here.
Lumpkin.
Present.
Howell.
Present.
Robinson.
Here.
Williamson.
Present.
Zamer.
Here.
14 present, 1 absent.
Please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance. Thank you. Now we'll move to public comment. You have 5 minutes to speak on any issue you wish to speak upon. Please do not address the council members. Council members cannot address your comments during public comment period. If they wish to do so, they will do so at a different point in the meeting. When you get to the table, please say your name and the town or city you live in. Can the clerk please call the first speaker?
First speaker is Deborah Brown. We're also going to have County Legislator Danielle Gillespie.
Yes.
The whole.
The CNAACP.
All of us.
Thank you. My name is Deborah Brown, and I live in the city of Albany. And I currently serve as the president of the Albany NAACP. And I come before you first, recognizing the Common Council President in his absence, Kelly Kimbrough, President Pro Tem Jenny Farrell, the Majority Leader Alfredo Valorant, and Majority Whip Awusu and I, and also to recognize Common Council member, Honorable Lumpkin, Councilman Lumpkin, and all of you council members. First, I want to extend a thanks for recognizing the Albany NAACP. And I have asked the NAACP, you just have a representation here of our representatives from our executive committee as well as our members. As you know, the NAACP has been in existence here in Albany since 1935. It was founded by a dentist, Dr. Fletcher Brown, who saw a need at that time with the treatment of African Americans in Albany, and held the first meeting in the African American Methodist Church here on Hamilton Street. Here we are 91 years later, still engaged here in Albany, still dealing with some of the same issues, which is unfortunate, but understanding that the mission and the need is to ensure equity and access for all people, to ensure a quality of life for everyone, and to end discrimination. So we all come before you. This is, and let it be known, this is not a paid position. We are all volunteers, and we volunteer because we believe in the work. We volunteer because we know that the mission is important. We volunteer because we know education, health, employment, being able to live where you desire as opposed to where people have directed you to is important. We know that economic development and environmental justice is important. And we know that We have had situations where people have been directed, people have been discriminated against, and our role is to ensure that that does not continue. So we thank you for this honor today. I would also like to acknowledge that we have with us today our Regional Director, Gwen Pope, and we also have with us our most renowned President of the NAACP, our former President and Regional Director, Ms. Ann Pope. And I'd like to thank Ms. Ann Pope because it's on her shoulder that I stand on. It is being able to observe and watch her as I moved into this role that enabled me to do and serve the Albany community and to meet the needs of the community residents. Again, I thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Good evening, respectable council members. My name is Danielle Gillespie, and I'm here before you as the county legislator that represents the 12th District. And I wanted to make some very brief comments about the importance of Local Law E of 2026 that I'm pretty sure is being referred to public safety. Hopefully, this piece of legislation will solve a decades-long
Excuse me,
problem.
County Legislator, do you mind just for the record stating your name and
Oh, yes.
where you...
I'm sorry.
You
It's
forgot.
Danielle Gillespie. I live at 3 Pitch Pine Road in the 12th. And these comments are specific to Local Law E. And hopefully, it will address a serious issue that the residents that live along Washington Ave Extension have been experienced and have encountered for decades. Drag racing creates a quality of life issue, it's a safety issue, and the potential for destruction of private property. While my colleague Rachel and I were out petitioning, we heard countless comments about the concern of the drag racing. And then when the Pine Bush Neighborhood Association meetings started up again, that was also a topic of consideration, was the concern with the drag racing. So those are my comments. I plan on coming to the committee meetings when we discuss where Local Law E of 2026 is discussed. There'll probably be some folks from the 12th that'll also come out and share their concerns with the drag racing. We've noticed that the participants and then also the folks that watch the drag racing are getting considerably younger and younger, and the crowds are increasing. And it's a huge safety issue. So hopefully Local Law E of 2026 will successfully pass through this highly esteemed body, and it'll address a decades-old problem. That's my comment as the county legislator. As a member of the NAACP, there's no time like the present for organizations like this to exist. We are under attack as a population, as a society full of Democrats, and to see the NAACP be recognized and celebrated is extremely important, along with us celebrating 100 years of Black History Month. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. The clerks continue move through public comment. Thanks.
The next speaker is Anaya A.
Good evening, Anaya A., and I'm a new resident of Albany. I think, is that okay? Yes? Okay. Yeah, so I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I was here just a couple of weeks ago. I was invited by my advocate, Ms. Tabora Marcus, in regards to the different issues that I was facing as I just got here from the city. And this evening I came back because since I did share my concerns, even though I try to keep it very positive and I try to spin it a little bit and talk about the Navy SEALs and bringing some of the great people of our communities here to Albany, I was retaliated against at this facility, the facility that I was living in. Thankfully, since then, I have relocated. However, I'm still concerned for others that have faced similar or worse tragedies at this location, between stabbings, between sexual assault, as well as, for me particularly, my wallet with a lot of political contacts information, personal numbers, office information, etc., and my passport was stolen. I cannot understand why people are doing what they're doing in these facilities. It's supposed to be called Safe Haven. 26 South Swan Street is the location that I'm referring to. IPH is a government-ran, donation-ran organization and entity, yet somebody like myself that did not try to cause any trouble. I came in every night, I did what I had to do, and every day it was like a nightmare. But being a political activist as well as an advocate, I chose to, go above and try my best to help people. Last time I was here, I brought Papa John Gaddy, and after we left here that night, we went to court the following morning, and he's a free black young 23-year-old. I made sure I screamed out Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton's name as a lifetime member of the National Action Network. I screamed out Ben Crump's name because that's a mentor and a very close friend of mine. And now this young man is not in prison. But in the same breath, I'm stuck without an international passport. God forbid I have to fly to Haiti, fly to the Dominican Republic, fly to Switzerland, fly anywhere, and I can't do so. So this evening, with the next 2 minutes, I just wanted to share, before I got here, I made copies of the police reports as well as the emergency room visit that I ended up going to. I was advised that I should send it out and give it to you guys because at the end of the day, you need to know for yourselves. Yes, this is personal information, but hell, my HIPAA laws were violated already. When people are stealing from you and they're going through your bags and they're stealing clothes from you and everything else like your passport, what's left? So I've made copies, I've handed them to Mr. Bryan, and he has copies for each one of you council members because I want you to understand, I have a degree, I have a lifestyle that I've led. I'm not accustomed to what I experienced, but I never look down on anybody. I'm fleeing a bad situation from the city. For me to be going through this and for activism to not be available, it's a shame, and it's sad. Where are our activists? Where are our advocates? And why aren't they being alerted that young black people are being attacked? But it's not just me. It's not just black people. It's white people. It's Hispanics. It's Asians. So with that being said, you all have a copy because, again, why should I hide the information since I've already been violated, right? I was sexually assaulted by a big man with a big thing between his legs and everything. I didn't get raped, thank God. But when I try to complain about that situation, it was swept under the rug again. But yet IPH has how many different facilities that they're operating in the city of Albany? Something needs to be done, but I want to thank the mayor as well as Chief Cox for meeting with me this past Friday at EMAC and Bolio's. That was a great conversation. But now it's time for follow-up as well as making sure that this Office of Prevention of Violence and things of that nature isn't enacted, and we definitely take this very seriously that people are suffering in silence. I'm just a little bit more vocal, so I'm going to say what I have to say. But there are a lot of people living in fear presently. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Helen Gleason.
Hi, my name is Helen Clayson. I live at 817 Livingston Avenue. I'm asking the Common Council to research and clarify the fire code, which the Albany Fire Department cites as a rationale for placing prominent placards with X designations on the front of vacant buildings. The intent is to notify first responders about potential dangers. My understanding is that there is room for municipalities to request a variance if it can be demonstrated that there are other means to achieve the same goal. And the reality is that the supervisor on the scene makes a determination about safety with information at hand. Some buildings are designated as unsafe when there's been no internal assessment. The fire chief said at a recent public safety committee meeting that these placards are for public safety. The placards are actually invitations to use these properties for shelter and drug use, with the risk of fires being started and spreading to other properties. The placards also create an environment where people feel less safe. We know that perceptions are more important than statistics. The code says that, quote, authority having jurisdiction shall exercise its powers in due and proper manner so as to extend to the public protection from the hazards of threat to human life, safety, or health. This is clearly not happening. I would ask the Common Council clarify who the authority having jurisdiction is and work with that authority to fulfill its obligations. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Marlon Anderson. Marlon Anderson. That is our last speaker.
Thank you, Ms. Clerk. We're now on to comments from members. Do members have any comments this evening? Seeing none, Mr. Ballerin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that we amended the agenda to take resolution 18-32-36 all out of order.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Mr. Lumpkin?
Thank you, Madam President. I notice resolution 18.32.26R and ask for its introduction and passage.
A resolution of the Common Council commemorating the centennial of Black History observance, and celebrating the 91st anniversary of the NAACP Albany branch.
Any discussion?
I have remarks.
Mr. Lumpkin?
Thank you, Madam President, and to my esteemed colleagues on the Common Council. I would also like to thank the clerk for reading of this significant resolution. Today, we
Is
are
your
not
microphone on, Mr. Lumpkin?
Excuse me?
Is your microphone on?
Yes.
Thank you.
Today, we are not merely marking dates on a calendar. We are pausing to reflect on two profound and interconnected milestones: the 100th anniversary of the National Observance of Black History and the 91st anniversary of our very own NAACP Albany branch. 100 years ago, the historian Dr. Carter G. Woodson launched the first Negro History Week. His vision was born from a simple, powerful conviction that the history of Black Americans was not a separate story, but an integral and essential thread in the fabric of American history itself. He understood that to remake the future, we must first reclaim the past. Now, a century later, we celebrate his legacy, not just for a week or a month, but as a continuous pursuit of knowledge and recognition. It is fitting that as we honor this national centennial, we also celebrate a legacy of action right here in our own city. 91 years ago, in February of 1935, the NAACP Albany branch was chartered. It was founded not in a time of ease, but in a time of struggle, specifically in response to violence and the demand of justice for Albany African American community. It was an act of profound courage by founders like Dr. William Fletcher Brown, who tirelessly gathered the signatures needed to give our community a voice in the national fight for civil rights. For 9 decades, the Albany NAACP has been that voice. It has been a shield against injustice, a beacon of hope for the marginalized, and a constant advocate for equality in housing, education, and law enforcement. The history they fought to make in our streets and in our legislative halls is the very history that Dr. Woodson implored us all to study and to celebrate. These two anniversaries remind us that history and actions are inseparable. We learn from the past not to remain in it, but to be inspired by it. We honor the struggles of our predecessors by continuing their work with the same vigor and determination. Therefore, as we pass this resolution, let it be more than a symbolic gesture. Let it be a renewal of our commitment as a council and as a city to the principles of justice, equality, and remembrance. Let us continue to support the vital work of the NAACP Albany branch under the dedicated leadership of its current president, Deborah Y. Brown, and ensure that the next century of Black history is one of continued progress and triumph. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councilmember Johnson?
Thank you. Thank you. I'll be brief. but when I look at the faces that make up the executive committee, it just warms my heart because growing up, you will always hear the NAACP fighting for things that were near and dear to my parents' heart, my grandmother's heart. So I'm always grateful to see the faces behind it. And, you know, everybody knows my personal relationship with Miss Ann Polk. And it was a beautiful thing to walk into City Hall today and see her. But the first thing I wanted to know was what was wrong, you know, what's going on. But, you know, it's just an honor anytime that I could be in her presence. And I'm grateful to be here today to support this. And I want to say thank you to Mr. Lumpkin for sponsoring it. Thank you.
Councilman Bernani?
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, just want to stand in solidarity and just show support for the NAACP on their 91st anniversary. I mean, you think about 91 years ago, you know, that was like the middle of the Great Depression, and so much going on, and individuals had the foresight to want to start an organization like this. But in all seriousness, that kind of longevity tells us something. It speaks to the resilience, the commitment, and also the deep roots this organization has and the impact that it's had in our city. A couple of months ago, particularly, I was talking to someone about, you know, NAACP. So like, man, the NAACP is quiet. You know, look at the Black Lives Matter movement. Look what they have been able to achieve. And I had to, like, correct them. It's like when a lot of y'all was getting arrested, it was the NAACP funds that was bailing them out. And that's something that a lot of people forget during those type of movements were taking place. NAACP has played such a vital role in particularly expanding voting rights, fighting discrimination, and strengthening civic engagement here in our city in the capital region. And let me say, when I know Derek said it, when leaders of NAACP call you, you pick up. You know, especially in Pope, she call you, you better pick up, because the work that they continue to do and the mission that they have is something that we all strive to do on a daily basis. So again, as we celebrate this milestone, I want to thank the leaders, the volunteers, and all the members for the great work that they're doing. Thank you.
Councilmember Ballard?
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to be brief as well, but I want to say thank you to all of the current and past leadership and members of the NAACP. Very few all-volunteer organizations last 91 years. Very few can keep their mission focused and can keep their work going forward. And the organization, because of all of you that have been committed to the mission and the work, have kept this organization vibrant and engaged in our community. So I thank you. I thank you for the work you've done. I thank you for the work you're going to continue to do. And I thank you for all of those who've come before you that have done the work to keep this organization, very needed organization, engaged and active in our city. Thank you.
And with that, all members are co-sponsors, so we will do a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We would like to welcome the members of the NAACP up so we could take a picture. So if everybody can assume the positions. Thank you so much. Next, we have reports of standing committees. Councilmember Zamer.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Farrell. The Planning, Economic Development, and Land Use Committee met March 9th. We voted 2 ordinances through with favorable recommendations. Ordinance 3126 concerning the Sunshine School on Delaware Avenue, and 143126R concerning the reauthorization of the CRC. We have a meeting Wednesday, March 18th, where we will take up the inclusionary housing legislation. Thanks.
Councilmember Hoey.
Thank you, President. Public Safety Committee will be meeting on March 25th before Caucus, and or is it after Caucus? I'm in the state, but anyhow, we'll be meeting on the 25th. We're going to be discussing local law E and also local law F. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members? Next, we have approval of minutes. Mr. Ballerin.
Thank you, Madam President. I asked the introduction of minutes from our last meeting.
Second.
Which will be the March 5th of
My last
2026.
meeting on March 5th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next, in local laws, Councilmember Powell.
Thank you, Madam President. I noticed local law E of 2026 and ask for its introduction.
Clerk, please read.
A local law amending Chapter 359, Vehicles and Traffic of the Code of the City of Albany by adding a new Article 16, thereto establishing the authority to investigate and penalize certain conduct related to unlawful speed contests, sideshows, and races.
Mr. Ballerin.
Thank you, Madam President. That will go to Public Safety.
Thank you. Councilmember Hoey.
Thank you, President. I noticed local law F and asked for it to be introduced.
Clerk, please read.
A local law establishing an Office of Violence Prevention and amending Chapter 183, Equity Agenda of the Code of the City of Albany in relation to the Violence Prevention Task Force.
Mr. Ballerin.
Thank you, Mr. President. That will also go to Public Safety. And with that, that is the rest of local laws are held.
Thank you, Mr. Ballerin. Moving on to ordinances. Mr. Anane.
Thank you, Madam President. I noticed ordinance 63226 for majority consent.
We first have to vote on,
For it to
Putting
get
it
out of
in.
majority consent? Okay.
yes, yeah.
Oh, added to the agenda, for majority consent?
Can I get a
Second.
second? Seconded by Councilmember Hoey. All those in favor of?
Aye.
Thank you. Councilmember Anane.
Thank you, Madam President. On behalf of President Pro Temp, Jenny Farrell, I ask for ordinance 63226 for its introduction by majority consent.
Clerk, please read.
An ordinance authorizing the lease of a portion of 520 Livingston Avenue, tax map parcel number 65.36-1-19 to the Black Nurses Coalition Incorporated.
Mr. Ballerin.
Thank you, Mr. President. That will be sent to Finance.
Thank
And
you.
with that, that's the rest of our ordinance are held.
Thank you. Next, we move on to resolutions. Councilmember Zamer.
Thank you, President Pro Temp. I noticed Resolution 163226R and ask for its introduction.
Clerk, please read.
A resolution of the Common Council reappointing Donald Hyman to the Public Education and Government Access Oversight Board.
Mr. Ballerin.
Thank you, Mr. President. That will go to the Planning Committee.
Thank you. Councilmember Hoey.
sorry, Madam President, I noticed Resolution 193226 and ask for its introduction.
Clerk, please read.
A resolution of the Common Council approving a transfer of budgeted funds and a change in the authorized positions included in the 2026 city budget, which will affect a salary rate or salary total.
Mr. Ballerin?
Thank you, Mr. President. That will go to finance. And with that, the rest of our, wait, no, we still have some more resolutions. Never mind.
Moving on to resolutions held. Councilmember Adams?
Thank you, Madam President. Would like to notice resolution 173226R, and ask for its reading.
Clerk, please read.
A resolution of the Common Council declaring the City of Albany to be lead agency for the State Environmental Quality Review of Ordinance 4.31.26 and declaring it's an unlisted action that will not have a negative impact on the environment.
And apologies, that was in resolutions introduced. Clerk, please call the roll.
Adams.
Yes.
Anani.
Yes.
Ballerin.
Yes.
Brody.
Yes.
Farrell.
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Flynn.
Yes.
Hoey.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Keegan.
Yes.
Lumpkin.
Yes.
Powell. Robinson.
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Williamson.
Yes.
Zamer.
Yes.
13 in the affirmative.
The resolution passes. Next, we move on to resolutions held. Councilmember Zamer.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. I notice Resolution 143126R and ask for its passage.
Clerk, please read.
A resolution of the Common Council amending the City of Albany's Capital Resource Corporation Certificate of Incorporation, authorizing the continuation of the authority of the City of Albany Capital Resource Corporation to issue obligations to finance projects to be undertaken by the corporation.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Adams.
Yes.
Anani.
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Ballerin.
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Brody.
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Farrell.
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Flynn.
Yes, co-sponsor.
Hoey.
Yes, co-sponsor, please.
Johnson.
Yes.
Keegan.
Yes.
Lumpkin.
Yes.
Powell. Robinson.
Please.
Williamson.
Yes.
Zamer.
Yes.
13 in the affirmative.
Resolution passes. Councilmember Ballerin.
Thank you, Madam President, and the rest of the resolutions are held.
Thank you. Moving on to miscellaneous. Do members have anything in miscellaneous? Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you. I'm just trying to figure out what's wrong with this picture when we have to come up with an answer to drag racing. I think that if the community knows that people are going to assemble there, are we wrong for having an expectation on APD? I just find it hard to believe that we're asked to come up with a resolution. Who's going to enforce it? It goes back to APD again. So I think that, are we being unreasonable to have expectations? I think that we have to put the expectations back on APD for them to address quality of life issues that are happening in the city. And I just find it troublesome that we have to have the conversation in here before an attempt to address something out there. And I just think of us passing the dirt bike and nothing happened, nothing came about that. And then, it was an incident, and then the next thing you know, the sheriff had picked up 55 bikes. So I just think that a lot of money goes in the direction of the Albany Police Department each year from the city's budget, and it just seems like more and more responsibilities, things that they have been handling in the past, get shifted in other directions. And, you know, as I said, I sympathize that that community is experiencing that, but, you know, we've been having similar issues in other parts of the city, and once again, it shouldn't come from legislation from inside this chambers for action to be felt in locations. If people are congregating, there's no reason why it shouldn't be a police presence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. And just a quick note that a reminder that a full discussion on this will happen as we move through the committee structure, and all members are welcome and encouraged to go to the committee meeting to share their thoughts and also have an opportunity to ask questions from APD to get specific answers on things. Councilmember Powell?
I mean, I just want to address this very briefly and say that we'll talk about it more at committee, but I think that both Danielle Gillespie and I and several community members have had a variety of conversations with both our DA Lee Kinlan and Chief Cox around this legislation and this issue. And so I think that we're just trying to give Albany PD and our DA Lee Kinlan more tools to use to address this issue. It's been a long-standing issue, and I think there's key components that our law does not allow for right now, and we're trying to address in this chamber. But again, we'll talk about that more on the 25th. I don't want to take up any more time. I appreciate Councilmember Johnson's feedback, and I hope that we can have this conversation then. Thank you.
Seeing no other miscellaneous comments, motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Meeting adjourned.